Mental health. This is what we're going to talk about today in this video lesson. As we go, make sure you repeat the examples after me, adapt the example sentences so they fit your reality out loud, okay? We need this active approach so we can remember these structures in the future. Try to make this language your language. When was the last time that you talked about mental health? When was the last time that you talked about mental health in English, if ever? Have you ever talked about this topic in English? So I'm going to share a screen with you. And I want to start by showing you a couple of images. Take a look at this. What comes to mind when you see these pictures? What vocabulary? What words? What activities? Who do you think of when you see these pictures? Let's try to activate as much language as possible. And of course, take a look at some vocabulary. So, stress. Stress is totally related to our mental health. Repeat, stress. And we also have the adjective stressful, que é estressante. So this is a very stressful work environment. This is a very stressful work environment, all right? Or I am handling a lot of stress right now. I'm handling a lot of stress right now. Are you handling any amount of stress? And that usually generates a lot of anxiety, okay? These situations trigger my anxiety. Dão gatilho, né? So these situations trigger my anxiety, all right? And that can lead to burnout. Have you ever had a burnout? Have you ever had a burnout? Let me check if burnout can be spelled both ways. Oh, burnout, also burnout with a hyphen. You see? Oh, this is another possibility.
Burnout, burnout.
All right. So have you ever had burnout? And what about depression? Okay. Do you know anyone who suffers from depression? That's the condition. Or do you know or do you work with anyone who is currently depressed? Have you ever had to deal with someone who was depressed? Okay, so depression, depressed, and coping mechanisms. This is an interesting word, an interesting pronunciation. Oh,
Mechanism, mechanism.
so that's a coping mechanism, all right? Exercising might be a coping mechanism. To cope with something means to deal with that, to process that feeling, to process that emotion, okay? So when you have a coping mechanism, you have an activity or a mechanism that allows you to cope with the stress that you're handling, all right? So exercising might be a coping mechanism. And self-care, autocuidado, self-care, okay? You should worry about self-care. Do you worry at all about self-care? What do you do to take care of yourself? I exercise to take care of myself. I walk the dogs to take care of myself, of my mental health, all right? And the therapy, fazer terapia em inglês is to do therapy. Do you do therapy? Have you ever done therapy? Do you know anyone who does it? What about your well-being? Well-being is very connected to self-care, right? É o seu bem-estar, okay? So I worry about your well-being. You should take care of yourself. I worry about your well-being, all right? Mental illness, que é uma doença mental, a tradução literal, né? So a mental illness. So severe anxiety is a mental illness, or depression is a mental illness, and we shouldn't have any taboos around mental illness. We should talk more about mental illness, all right? A taboo. A taboo.
Taboo, taboo.
taboo, taboo,
taboo,
Taboo. All right. Emotional intelligence, right? Working. Sorry, let me change the formatting here. So, working or handling this amount of pressure requires a lot of emotional intelligence. How is your emotional intelligence? All right. Emotional intelligence and work-life balance. How would you rate your work-life balance nowadays? Try to answer this question out loud. Every time I propose a question in a sentence here, I want you to adapt this sentence. Okay. So it's true for you. And overwhelm. Overwhelmed. Que é sobrecarregado. Okay. I feel very overwhelmed when. How would you complete this sentence? Quando que você se sente sobrecarregado? I feel very overwhelmed when. Productivity. Productivity. All right? Productivity. So, how would you increase your productivity? Okay. How does your boss measure your productivity? That's an interesting question. What about isolation? Isolation.
Isolate. Isolate.
To isolate yourself. That's the verb. Isolation, isolate. Okay. Many people isolate themselves when they feel overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. Instead of asking for help. That's very common. Many people isolate themselves, or I feel isolated. Okay. A psychologist. So my psychologist said that I should sleep more hours or eat better, exercise. My psychologist said. My therapist, it's very similar to therapist, okay? Meu terapeuta, meu psicólogo, perdão. Stigma, look at this pronunciation.
Stigma. Stigma.
Okay? So, in many families, doing therapy can be a stigma. It's still like there's still a lot of prejudice against therapy, right? So, in many families, doing therapy can be a stigma, or having depression can be a stigma, right? In mental health days, that's an interesting concept that we're going to talk about in class. Now, take a look at this. What activities help you relax after a stressful day? Pause this video for a second. Use this language I just taught you. How? Which words would be useful when answering this question? What activities help you relax? Out loud, speak out loud, okay? How do you recognize when you're feeling overwhelmed? What are the signs that you have that you are feeling overwhelmed? Have you ever tried mindfulness or meditation? I have. I would like to go back to it, but for me personally, it's very hard to keep the habit. I do it for a couple months and then I don't do it anymore, So have you ever tried meditation where using apps, alone, with the group, do it during like yoga practice? Now, do you set boundaries to maintain your mental well-being? I think this question is going to get a lot of people. How important is physical activity in managing your stress? Do you do exercise as a coping mechanism? Do you have exercise as a coping mechanism? So try to answer these questions out loud right now. Pause this lesson. We need to activate and have this like active approach towards learning a language. Otherwise, we just learn the language, but we never learn how to speak it. Okay. And if you're here, you'll probably have that feeling that you understand what everybody says, but when you have to speak, that's different, right? That's a whole nother story. So practice right now with me. Okay. Some useful expressions related to mental health. I'm feeling overwhelmed. We talked about this. This is very overwhelming. It's very heavy. It's very hard to deal with. All right. It's important to set boundaries, set limits. Okay? You need to set a boundary. Seeking therapy is a sign of strength. Pronunciation. Strength. Força. Strength.
strength, strength,
All right? Seeking therapy is a sign of strength. And I like the word seeking here, which means buscando, procurando. Seeking therapy is a sign of strength. And some phrasal verbs. I know you all love phrasal verbs, and I do too. Okay. Burnout is one of them. The condition can be together or with the hyphen. But to become extremely tired or sick by working hard for a long time, this is burnout. Okay. So I am burning out. I'm burning out. Okay. I am burning out. Chill out. Chill out. Just chill. Just chill. Just chill out for a couple of days. Take 3 days off, just chill out. You need to chill out, all right? And open up. Open up. Let it out. I like this expression, let it out. Põe pra fora, let it out. Open up. You need to open up to your friends, open up to your family, open up to your friends. We have this preposition. Open up to your friends, open up to your family. You shouldn't bottle up. Bottle up, it's like when you keep things for yourself. You put in a bottle and you close. You put in a bottle and you close. You don't let it out. Okay, so it's the opposite of opening up. You open up or you bottle up. Okay, to keep emotions hidden. Don't bottle up. And to break down, to lose control of your emotions. So I had a breakdown. I had a meltdown. Mel vem de derreter, né? I had a meltdown. I had a breakdown. All right? So these are very, very interesting phrasal verbs. Again, here we have some interesting questions related to stress. What are common sources of stress in modern society? First, I proposed questions about you. Now we're getting out of your comfort zone. What are common sources of stress in modern society? When you look at society, when you look at your friends and your family, why are they stressed? How does workplace culture impact employee mental health? So look at the company where you work. Take a look, think back to previous places and companies where you worked. Tell me, how was that environment? How did it affect your mental health? What role does technology play in increasing or decreasing stress levels? Do you think technology is making us more stressed, less stressed? Tell me in the comments. Let's talk about it. Build your thoughts out loud, okay? How can employees promote a healthier work-life balance in your field? How can os empregadores, as empresas, how can employers promote a healthier work-life balance in your field? Is there anything that your boss could do? Is there anything that the company could do? All right? Can the government help? That's an interesting question. Is there anything that the government could do to help us have better work-life balance? That's very interesting. So let it out, okay? Form your sentences, speak out loud, express your thoughts, get out of your comfort zone. That's what we do in the Smart Talk. And I will see you next class. Bye-bye.